Okay, this week we're going to be doing some more orthographic projections exercises before we start getting into a little more high-end information. So this one is from sheet 12, and I've already started working on the drawing. I've placed some outline lines in place for my top, front, and left side view. I'm just going to do item 2. This one's got some curves involved in it, so I've already made my measurements. It's 17 inches, we'll call it inches, 17 inches long, 8 inches wide. Height is going to be 3. The distance to this 5-inch diameter circle, the center line is 3 back from the front edge. It's centered on the plane. We have a 6-inch diameter half circle back here that makes up this channel, and we know the height of this is 4 on this back piece, so we should have all the dimensions that I need for this. I've placed my first guidelines in place, and I'm going to kind of move this over. I've cut my light down a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. My top view again is going to be 17. Now I kind of lost my guidelines, so I'm going to have to use my that's 16 and 1 is 17. I'll mark it down here too so I can make sure it's relatively square. Okay. Width is going to be 8. Should be 1 inch at 1/8 inch scale. So mark that across. My width of, I guess I didn't get that one, going to be 6. So we'll come across here, 4, 5, 6. Length is going to be 10. So we'll draw that box in. And again, I'll extend those lines straight down. I'm going to have 2 and 2. We'll extend those lines all the way through. So I'm not even really thinking about the shape just yet. I'm just getting these guidelines in place. My lower height is going to be 3. Mark that a couple places there so we can get the height on it. And we said the width on that left side view was 8, so we'll put that in at 8 inches. Height of the upper portion is going to be 4. So we'll roll that one in at 4. Now we know if that is a 6-inch diameter, it's going to have a 3 radius. So we can start putting some guidelines on here. I put it at roughly 45. It's going to be 3 all the way around. So I'm just putting little dots in there to give me some guidelines for sketching that curve. And we know that circle is, we said it was 3 back from the front edge, so I'll go back 3, and we said it was a 5. I'm going to check that. Actually, it looks more like a 4. I'm going to change that to a 4. doesn't make sense. 7. Oh, it's, I'm sorry, 3 to the center. That makes more sense. We'll find the center of this 1 inch, this 1/2 inch. So what we'll do is just make a set of crosshairs that indicate our center mark for the circle. We know it's 4 is going to be the diameter. So I'm very lightly going to start sketching in this circle. At that center point, and I'll start very lightly just sketching in this half circle for this piece. And then the first thing we'll do is darken those in. So I'll move this down. So I'm just doing it a quarter circle at a time, just basically my lettering. It's just going to be a sketch, so we'll just put it in as close as we can, and we'll do this one, just a half circle. And now we can fill in all our lines that are going to stay. We got one line, which is the width of that, which is 6. There we go. Hopefully I'm using a little darker pencil now so it's showing up better for you. Unless I change my light down so it's not quite as bright. Fix my pencil, that's better. And over here. Couple of guidelines to put in. This will be for a hidden line. And then we're going to have one at the center that is 4. 2 vertical lines there. So this will be a hidden line, hidden line, hidden line across here to indicate that recess. I have to do a little bit more cleaning on this. Let me get my big thick pencil back, I guess. The back line. hidden line for the circle. Center marks. Pencil lead's kind of, any center mark needs to be thinner if possible. Now I'm going to come in here and clean this up. It's a little too dark a construction line, but should be okay. Seems to be erasing well. Finish putting in some center lines. I end up throwing this pencil away here. I think that should pretty much do it. So now we can see our top view, front view, and our left side view. Clean it off a little bit. So the rest of these, 1, 3, and 4 will all be done similarly. Now I've made a copy of a sheet from the workbook that I'm going to be handing out, and it's on page, it's not actually the workbook, it's from the textbook. And it's on page, I think it's 195. It's in chapter 4, but it has a bunch of orthographic projections that have lines missing. So what you need to determine is what lines are missing, and this includes both visible and hidden edges. And this will be part of our homework assignment to figure in all 24 of these where the missing parts are. I've selected some typical ones, starting with number 1, and what I've done is blown this up so that you can see it better. So number 1 is right here. So let me move this out of the way. Get a back sheet, something good to write on. So what we have is a top, front, and right side view of an object, and it has some lines missing. Now the way that we determine what lines are missing is to start running some extension lines, and I'm going to grab a pencil that's not going to break on me. There. So to start out with, I'm going to take this right side view. So we have a top, front, right side. Sorry, got interrupted by a phone call. Football stadium issues. So this was exercise 1 on that sheet that I was talking about. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to create some connector lines here. kind of light. I'll make them a little darker than I normally would so they show up for you. And then we'll identify the views. So what I've done, we have a top view, we have a front view, we have a right side view. Okay? I need to transfer any points I have to make sure that I've got all my lines. I'll just run them across and make sure that they line up. So it appears that we have all of our lines on the front and the right side view, but we're missing some lines on this top view. We can see from the right side that we've got a bump up here and we've got a bump over here. Now if I take where my two edges connect, right here and right here, would be the outside edges of this right side view, and I connect that with a diagonal line, now I can transfer this line up to the top and then bring that line straight across. So now we can darken this line in, and we can darken this line in. And now that view makes sense. We've got a top view that indicates that there's this bump here. This front view shows the elevation of that bump. Over here on the right side we see that same view. So now this view makes sense. Now we're going to take another look at one that's a little more difficult. Has some curves on it. This is number 22 on the sheet. Again, we have a top view, I'll just put a T, front view, and a right side. Doing the same exercise as before, I'm going to extrude these lines up anywhere there's an edge, all the way to the top. And then we'll take this and extrude these lines, I shouldn't say extrude, extend these lines straight across. We hit our diagonal line right here. Now we have some edges where these curves meet this flat portion. Any place there'd be an edge, I'm drawing a line right across there. So now, if we look across here, I'm going to extend this line all the way across here. Outside edge, edge of circle, outside edge. So what we have is two cylinders. We also have these edges here. I'll just roughly put those in. And I want to extend that across in this direction. So could that be a bump out, or is this a hole? Well, I'm going to assume it's a hole. I guess there could be some missing lines here that would indicate this is like a boss or something that's stuck out. But from the information I'm getting here, I'm going to assume it is just a hole. So this would show up as a hidden line up here on the top. Just a dashed line. Another hidden line here. I blew this up from a very small drawing, so not everything is probably where it should be. we know that where this cuts off, at least to this portion, we're going to have a flat spot on the top of this circle. And then this is going to extend across. And where the top of this meets, we're going to have a flat spot right there. And we're going to have another flat spot right there. And this is going to show up with a hidden line. Another hidden line. We'll go in, do some cleanup here. For those construction lines, I'll leave this diagonal in place. Now, I just noticed something that I missed, and I think you'll understand it, that where this circle comes underneath down here in this front view, we would see that as another hidden line along this front edge. So we'd see a hidden line right here that indicates that circle running underneath. This arc here runs underneath. So we've got this flat top spot here. Then this would be a curve section, curve section, curve, and curve. If I were to draw this piece, let me just see if I can draw kind of an isometric of what we're seeing there, or I'll just sketch it out. We're seeing a large cylinder with a smaller cylinder. Like this. It's got a hole going through it. And then what they've done pardon my poor sketching. I think it looks something like this. So I've taken this shell and just cut the top off in it. And we're able to extrapolate that from what orthographic views. And I guess what I was saying is this could be a boss sticking out here, it would have to stick out here, and then you would have to show it like another. So we're not really sure if this is actually a hole or an extension, but with the lines we're giving, assuming we're only missing a couple, chances are that's just a hole through that piece. Now let's do one more. Another one that's got some round features in it. It's number 21. So what we're seeing here is an object that has a keyway. Again, we have a top, front, right side view. We can see the keyway extending through here, and we can see the top of the hole. So let's extend our lines like we did before. so we can pick up those edges that we may or may not be missing here. So using hand drafting, this is the easiest way to transfer these right side edges to the top edge. So we know, for instance, that we're going to have this edge, which is the hole running through the object, right here. We're going to be able to see the keyway as a hidden line through this top view, so we'll sketch those in. And actually, that is pretty much it. So these would just show up as hidden lines. We'll pop in these keyways. This line's solid, so basically you've got, and again I'll sketch this out as best I can. We've got a cylinder, drawing an ellipse, another ellipse. It's got a hole through it, got a keyway. You cut it right at the center point, go back, another piece there. I got a bunch of lines on there, but this will make sense when I get it darkened out. Take these lines out of here. So it's a little out of shape, but that would be what you're looking at, is basically a piece of, say, steel, got a hole drilled through it, and there's a keyway in the bottom, and it's got a cutout on the top that comes down into a flat edge, just like that. So all we were missing were just the hidden lines on the edge. So if you take these lines and extend them, and if it helps you to sketch out a little isometric of what it should be based on the orthographic projections you're seeing, then certainly go ahead and do that. So that's 3 examples from that sheet that you can use as starters, and the rest you'll just kind of go through, take your pencil and sketch those lines in, and you should be able to identify where you're missing either visible edges or hidden lines.